Welcome back. It's Doctor's Corner with me, Dr. Musa Mthombeni. And today we have a sexy, sultry, and seductive episode. Yes. And the guests I have today have their tongues out and ready to show you all the things you want to see.
Zach on the beat.
South Africa. My name is Karabo Mohale. I'm the Executive Deputy Chairperson of the National Youth Development Agency. We want to officially welcome you to our segment of Doctor's Corner that is going to be hosted by yours truly, Dr. Musa Mthombeni. Dr. Musa Mthombeni will be taking us through 3 different topics that we're going to be discussing. Number 1, mental health. Number 2, substance use and abuse. And number 3, what it means to have a healthy and safe sex life. And might I add, that does not include pulling out, so use condoms.
I'm joined by Snetemba, joined by Debbie, as well as joined by Mateo. And today we're talking about how you could have a sexy as well as healthy sex life and all the things that encompass what that means. So let's jump into it. Hello everyone, ni right?
We're good.
Nyanbona man. Ngathi ni sexually active, mangin. So let's talk about what a healthy sex life looks like to you. Debbie, what does a healthy sex life look like?
I think a healthy sex life looks like where both partners agree to do it and the people are mentally ready and are following the right steps of using the right contraceptives.
I told you that tongue is sultry.
You see, and just agreeing for it is the most important part.
Right, so you raise an important part, right, about consent. I think we'll touch it once I get their opinions on what a healthy sex life looks like. So Netemba, what is a healthy sex life?
Generally, I think a healthy sex life means being able to practice sex in a safe way. And for me, it means having one partner to do sex with. And not going around having sex with multiple partners, because I think eventually that's not safe, because it's healthy sex life. So that's not safe at all.
Cool. Ibambe, we're going to come back to that one. So you see, I'm holding your points now, right? So we've got consent, I've written it. We're saying one partner, I've written it. We're going to come back to it. And to you, Matseho?
To me, a healthy sex life would be basically practicing safe sex, using protection at all times, and also having one partner. And it all starts with the level of trust. For you to be comfortable with your partner, you need to trust the partner. So
let me ask you this. Do you have to trust someone to have sex with them? Right? Debbie, just answer that question. Do you have to trust someone to have sex with them?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because we find people in multiple places having sex with a person they just met. I believe trust cannot be built on just an hour of nice drink and in a nice scenario. So I don't think you need to trust the person.
So you don't need to necessarily trust someone. All right, a big point that Matseho as well as Netemba have brought up is this issue of one partner, right? I will raise you this. This is my argument, that we live now in a society that doesn't necessarily hold the same level of respect for monogamy, right? That monogamy is not the only type of relationship that exists in the world. Would you agree? Right. So I understand that I personally asked you what a healthy sex life looks like, but what does sex in 2022 look like? What have you heard it to be, experienced it to be, seen it to be? What are your peers doing? Let's start with you, Matso.
Oh, I hear a lot. And I can say I've seen some,
Things like what? What are they saying it is?
There are people who are having multiple sexual partners, and there are those who are actually practicing freaky and wild side of sex. And
I wonder what that is.
Like they're just explorers. They're exploring anything that comes. And there are those ones who actually do things by the book, if I may say.
Okay, so you're hearing, there are those woman on top never. Abati, right, so there are those ones. There are those that are doing freaking wild things that we will not mention here because, I don't know what you were saying. And then lastly are people that don't necessarily have monogamous relationships, but they have some sort of relationship. Because the reality is, relationships are different, right? Some people will have different relationships with other people. So I may say, I'm a single guy, you are a single guy, and I want to have sex with you. But as a single guy, I can also have sex with you, Debbie, because that's just the vibe I'm feeling. And I'm not in a formal relationship with any of you. And that's an important thing to note. But a big point that you've all highlighted is the fact that having multiple sexual partners increases certain risks. What worries you about having multiple sexual partners, Senator?
Sure. Firstly, there's this term for us as the youth that if you have sex with different people or if you have sex with anybody, there's the transition of fluids, so energy. So having sex with different people, like the energy.
Energy? What do you mean? Like petrol? Like
No, like bad energy. But then let's not lie. When you have sex with the person, then you can have like good energies because that person might be a good person.
So here's my argument there, right? And I'm the devil's advocate today, right? What if I don't believe in this energy stuff that you guys are talking about? Me and I just want to be busy, and that's the end of that. What if it's that? Because I get your point that energies, but that requires you to be a spiritual person that believes in energies, nama chakra, and things like that. There are people that are just like, no, I met Debbie. Debbie likes me, I like her, and we did the things. So does that then change your view on what multiple partners would do for your relationship or for what sex life is for you?
Absolutely no. It doesn't change anything because what I believe is what I believe, and what Debbie or a different person might believe about having multiple partners, that's what they believe. What I believe is that if I have one partner, that's what I believe in, and if I'm going around having sex with different people, it's not good for my health. Number one, I can get STIs, STDs, and things that I don't want to expose myself when I'm going out having sex with multiple partners.
So that becomes the problem, right? It's the multiple sexual partners increases the risk of you acquiring STIs. But having one partner can still give you the very same STIs. So it then goes back to what? To trust again. Should we be trusting our partners? That's the other question. So by partners, I use this term very lightly and loosely, right? Because partner is just the person I've decided I'm going to have sex with in this context. Not, we're getting married next week. No, it's not that sort of thing. Should you holistically, with all your heart, trust your partner?
I would come back and say yes. Because for you to actually find yourself in that space of saying, now we're doing it, you need to come to terms of saying, how are we going to go about this? Are we going to have safe sex or are we just going to go loosely?
So because I've asked the question in this way to say, should you trust your partner holistically? So I've used a strong word there. Debbie, should I trust my partner holistically?
I think you should never trust your partner holistically because you never know what they do in the background. Okay. So trusting them holistically actually means you just trust them in whatever they come, in whatever way they negotiate you having sex and all that. So I don't think it should be holistically, but it should just be trust in a way that, so that like everyone enjoys the intercourse. Because it won't be pleasurable if you're just gonna have sex while not trusting the person, because you're just gonna have a lot of things going in your mind. So what's the point of you engaging in sexual intercourse if it's not for you to have pleasure, unless you're trying to have
I'm done. So an important thing to note from that is this issue of trust, that holistic trust is a problem in that you never know what your partner is doing. They could have other partners and they may be creeping or sleeping with other people in the back. But as human beings, of course, you're going to have to trust someone. And it is about managing that dynamic of that relationship to say, am I choosing to say I'm going to stop using condoms now because I feel like I'm in a committed relationship with this person, and our way forward is we are monogamous, we are for each other and no one else, and no one's going to step out on the other and potentially invite disease into the relationship. Interesting. Something important that we discussed a little bit earlier on, this issue of consent. Consent in 2022 is an important one because in the past, olden days, you'll hear of women saying, no, if I'm married to a man, I can't say no. But that's not the same reverberated opinion in 2022. People don't say that, because consent has expanded itself, and now consent is something that is continually needed, even during sex. So if we meet up today and we're like, yeah, no, you and I are good. And we say, listen, you're going to come over tomorrow, we're going to, and you say, yes, we're going to. I've theoretically received some consent, but it doesn't mean it's happening.
Exactly.
It's happening for sure.
Yeah.
Because you have every right tomorrow to be like, yeah, listen, I don't feel like doing it. So what's your understanding of consent in 2022?
I think consent in 22 is actually agreeing fully to what is being negotiated. And I think consent without the right state of mind is not consent.
I see where you're going with it. Say it outright. What are you saying?
You can't accept to engage in a sexual intercourse with a lady who is drunk and agreeing for the intercourse to happen. Yeah. That person is not in the right state of mind. Okay. They're literally numb. What we know about alcohol is that in the long run it numbs you, as Tejo said, and then all that. So I don't think consent is just now denotated. It has to be connotated. You have to contextualize the way in which consent is being brought. Is
consent evolving? Does it evolve in a sexual act? So if person 1 and person 2 start having sex, the moment they start kissing and I say, yes, you can have sex with me, up until we finish, if someone changes their mind along the way, is it a sure way stop, we're stopping, or can we continue because we agreed, we're going to do this?
I think it's a sure way stop, because if we start kissing and then you start touching me and then I'm not comfortable and I say, Musa, please, no, let's stop it now. Then we should stop it there. Yeah. Yes.
What does it mean if I continue?
Sorry. And it goes back to what you were saying, Guti. Let's say if you're a married person and we had sex today, it doesn't mean tomorrow I want to have sex. Yeah. So if I don't feel like having sex tomorrow, I don't feel like it.
What does it mean when someone withdraws sex? What's the word we're chasing here? When someone says, I don't want to have sex anymore, and the person goes past that point, what has this person done?
It's rape.
Full stop. I think it's a non-negotiable. Whether
not open for discussion.
Not open for discussion.
Yeah.
And what a lot of young people I think are missing is that idea that consent doesn't start and end at one point. That there are cues and body cues and words and mm-ms and no's that come with being or having sex with someone that may leave you at a disadvantage if you don't listen. So it's important that we listen to cues at all times so we find ourselves in a positive consent space. Otherwise we have rape, and rape is a big issue, and we know this in South Africa. A lot of people finding themselves being raped or getting raped by perpetrators, and I mean there are many things that we're going to discuss in today's show, and we'll look at all those sort of elements. But lastly, I think an important one to have as well is an issue of how to prevent the complications of having sex. Now, we've mentioned STIs, and we know that, there are drugs that you can take if you want to, not acquire diseases. There's PrEP that you can take. If you manage to get an STI, then you can go get yourself some injections for STIs, bacterial infections and things like that. There's PEP as well for post-exposure. So if you found yourself in a position where you had sex with someone and, a condom burst and, maybe you didn't know, maybe it was a quickie in a bathroom, where you now have to use medication to prevent yourself from getting ill. There's an issue of other medication that exists, and that's contraception. Why is contraception important, Manza?
Contraception is important because it actually eliminates the risk of getting pregnant, and of which, by the way, I can say somehow I was not fully exposed to it, as I'm a young mother myself to a 4-year-old daughter. And I'd say if I had had the prior knowledge about it, because by then I didn't have open conversations about sexual intercourse with anyone at the time, I would have actually eliminated myself from actually experiencing this whole thing. But now that I know about it and I can tell others about it to actually save them from this whole thing. But one thing I know is that once you have a child, it's not like that's the end of your life. You can still continue and do certain things. As I am here, I'm studying myself, and my daughter is well taken care of. And but while you know that you're preventing, you know that you can be on the safe side. And one thing that we all need to know is that pregnancy prevention does not prevent any disease. It's only there for prevention of pregnancy.
Nazo.
And that's it.
That's it.
And then you still need to practice safe sex.
Nazo, I mean, what do I add to that? Kuluminu mama. What's your baby's name? Yo, Butsilo's mom said it all. What do I have to say now? very important what you've highlighted. And the issue, and for those that are understanding what contraceptive is, preventer. You know, preventer. Let's put it that way. There are so many forms, and of course we'll get into that a bit later on. But I think it's time now to bust some myths. Are they facts? Are they myths? I don't know. Let's find out. Myth or fact time. Let's establish whether I am telling you myths or whether I'm spitting facts, yo. Guys, are you ready? Good. The first one is oral sex is always safe sex.
Myth.
Okay. Why is it a myth? Debbie?
I say it's a myth because we have to consider what happens in oral sex.
Uh-huh.
So the same liquid that could cause STI when in interaction with your vagina is the same liquid that goes through your mouth.
Okay.
And we have to understand that immune system is not only on the vagina.
My immune system. What you're saying is correct, right? It is a myth. Oral sex is not always safe sex, and that's why generally just look after yourself, please. All right, thanks. Let's get into the next one. The next myth or fact is you can tell someone has a STI just by looking at them. I'm born and you here.
A big myth.
It's a big myth. Why is Natemba? Why is this a myth?
Because not everybody's written STI, I've got STD, so it's a myth. You have to go to the clinic, get tested to actually find out is this person, do they have STI or STD? So it's a very big fat myth.
Yeah, so this is a big question of that trust component. You can't look at someone and decide whether you can trust them or not. It doesn't operate like that. If you are in a relationship or want to start a relationship, it's always advised to take your partner with you to the clinic, get some tests done. And if they say, oh, baby, you don't trust me. Why don't you trust me? Red flag. I'll throw it here. I'd throw it here and say, it's a big red flag. So stay away from that person. Right. The next myth or fact is pulling out protects me from pregnancy. Mateo, I want you to answer this one.
No, it's a myth.
It's a myth.
I gotta say it's a myth because there's fluids that actually comes out before the big
the party at the end.
yeah, before the party at the end. Yeah, so that can actually get you pregnant.
Yeah. A big thing, ladies and gentlemen, about guys is that they lie. So when things are happening and then he says, I just need to stop quickly, it's just a cramp. No, it's not a cramp. He's done something already. He's done something, don't believe him. So just as a pure statement of, let's just get this clear, pulling out is not a way to prevent pregnancy. You don't regard it as one. It's not a contraceptive method. Please, let's not do that. And the last myth or fact is you can't say no to sex after agreeing to sex.
It's a myth.
Is that a myth? Yeah. Why is it a myth, Natem?
It is a myth because it goes back to what I was saying earlier on, Guti. If we start kissing and then we start having sex, if I don't want to have sex in that moment, I don't want to have sex.
Consent can be withdrawn at any time. It's up to you to look at the cues, listen to the cues, watch the clues. And sometimes it's not even vague. It's not like, is it me? What do you know? And you just need to listen out for that and stop at that point in time. Because anything you do beyond that point is what?
Rape.
Is what?
Rape.
Thank you.
Here's what you need to do if you've been raped. Firstly, stay alive. Get to safety as soon as possible and contact someone that you can trust. Keep as much evidence as you can. Keep the clothes, don't shower, don't bath, and make sure that you collect and keep that evidence. Seek medical help as soon as you possibly can so that they can assess you and give you all the necessary medication to make sure that you're protected. If you want to open a case, get to the police station and make a statement, as well as getting protection orders against the person if you know them. Importantly, get support. There are many support groups that will help you in your time of need. Here are some helplines that will assist you in your time of need. Contact Tears on *134 *7355#. The National GBV Helpline on 0800 150 150. Lifeline South Africa on 0861 322 322. The AIDS Helpline on 0800 012 322. If you would like to find out more about your sexual reproductive rights, visit www.genderjustice.org.za. To get more resources, get to your local clinic that offers youth-friendly services or contact Love Life on lovelife.org.za or 011 523 1000. There are a number of contraceptive devices that you could use. Firstly, the condom. This will give you good protection against getting pregnant as well as STIs. Another good contraceptive is the oral contraceptive pill. Other things on offer include the intrauterine devices, the contraceptive implant, the contraceptive injections, emergency contraceptives known as the morning after pill, the contraceptive ring, and the diaphragm.
And there we have it, the end of an episode. Today we gave you all the things that you need to know about sex. Important points to take home, of course, is one on consent. It's so important to have consent, but continually get consent even during the act. Importantly, look out for contraceptives. Make sure that you protect yourself from all kinds of STIs and STDs and many other things. Look out for yourself. And of course, just go out there and have a sexy and safe sex life. Thank you guys for coming through. I really enjoyed having and hearing your opinion on things. And let's hope that you guys continue to have safe sex lifestyle. All right, from us here, later.